right, welcome back. On this week's episode of Bone Apple Tea, we interview fellow band member and personal trainer extraordinaire Drew Caudill, Codzilla. We talk about personal training, what he's up to, kind of what he's been doing during this whole quarantine period. We go into a bunch of stuff, group classes, one-on-one training.
Yeah, what it's like to kind of be, going from construction to personal training, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and kind of just his background and how he got into... he's a very good cook, so chefing it up as well. Chefing it up and doing PT. So definitely give him a follow.
Yep. And then this week's song is Possibly Absolutely by Good Hustle, because, if the singer, the drummer, and the bassist are going to be here, might as well feature.
We kind of gotta, yeah. It's almost poetic.
All right, yeah, that's it.
Enjoy. Mini introduction here, because you've been on the show before, but for people who are just tuning in and haven't seen you on before, you want to just introduce yourself and
Sure. My name's Drew Caudill. I'm a personal trainer from Concord, New Hampshire. I've been friends with Randy and Adam for a long time. Give or take. It's 2 or 3 years. It was a long time for me.
Yeah.
Met them through my buddy Matt. We're in a band together. Everything's cool. We're all into fitness, and here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way of saying it. However, you didn't start out as a personal trainer.
No. No.
So tell the people a little bit about how that actually ended up working out, because I know for years you were doing carpentry, right?
Yeah. So I was in construction for a long time. I fell into carpentry right after I got out of high school, and then worked there for a long time. I did more
It doesn't look like it's recording. Yeah. It's okay. Keep going. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Adam's got it.
All right. Just pick up where I left off.
Yeah.
Cut this out, right? So I did carpentry for a long time. Didn't really, I did it for a while. Liked the residential side of it, and then I got into more commercial carpentry after a while. Maybe after 2 years of doing residential, and then I kind of lost the spark for it. It was more concrete based, and that wasn't my thing.
Right.
Didn't really find myself too interested in it, and what I really found myself doing more often than not was digging in deeper into the fitness industry and watching more podcasts and seminars and videos of how to incorporate my health into it, because I had my own fitness journey as well.
Right.
So hopping into that was a big step. I didn't really have anybody behind me to help me decide what I wanted to do for that. It was just kind of a lifelong passion that I wanted to tap into, and moreover, I wanted to learn more about the industry. So that's why I decided to hop in the first place.
Yeah, I remember, because you and Matt actually worked at the same place for a while too, right?
Yeah, him and I did environmental work for a long time, and that had its own benefit, but it also wasn't anywhere that I saw myself for a long time.
Okay.
And if there was anything that I could see myself doing for a long time, was something around health.
Okay.
And around maximizing my own health and whoever I work with. That was the driving force behind it.
Okay. Now, were you inspired by anyone in particular when you were thinking about specifically personal training? Because there's a lot of things you can get into as far as health is concerned. A
personal trainer was always kind of in the back of my mind since I was a kid.
Really?
I say that I had my own fitness journey and all that, but I used to be, pretty overweight as a kid. I grew up impoverished, didn't have access to really good, clean food where I could nourish myself with the vitamins that I need and take care of my body.
Right.
So I had to end up getting a job at a young age when I was 15, 16 to support myself and my sister. And
wow, really?
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm hearing about that. Damn, okay.
So in order to feed us well, I had to get a job, and that's where I started paying more attention to should I eat enough to satiate me, and what do I need for my body? And that's kind of the first thing where I was okay, I kind of need to, now that I have control of this, I can feed myself well.
Right. What was the first job that you get?
Dunkin' Donuts, baby.
There you go.
Dunkin' Donuts. So they hired you at 16 or something like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe it wasn't 16. It was 16, 17.
Okay.
It was young. I was the only kid my age with a job, and really focused on it because I had to. I had to buy my own shampoo, clothes, food, school supplies, like all that shit. So I was the only person that was forced to get a job. I should say, but I don't regret it.
Right.
It taught me a lot about myself, and it taught me a lot about discipline, which helped which also, fast forwarded my progress because my mom didn't have a car. I walked to my high school. From high school, I walked to my work. So through that, I lost a considerable amount of weight. And through that, I got really skinny. And that's when I started getting into like building muscle. And like I lost all this weight. Now, how do I, I still feel like shit.
Yeah, right. Like I didn't really solve my problem.
And I was a young kid, so I didn't know any better.
I was gonna say, when did you start like cooking? Because I feel like ever since I've known you, you've kind of already been able to.
Well, my dad was a chef, or is a chef still, and growing, I was in between my dad's house and my mom's house, and whenever I went over to my dad's house, that's when I would eat like pretty good food. And he, I would sit with him. He would show me how to cook. He taught me my knife skills. He taught me he would bring me to work sometimes if he didn't have a babysitter, and I would sit in the kitchen and watch him.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So that's kind of how I got introduced to cooking like food that didn't taste like shit when it should, be good for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I love to do because it like eating well is hard to stick to as it is, especially when everything tastes like shit.
Yeah, I mean that's usually the big thing that people say, like, oh well, I would eat healthy, but like it's so much tastier if I go out and get a Big Mac or something,
Yeah,
which it's meant to be. It's meant to taste better than regular food.
That's their whole shtick.
One burger from there is like 900 calories, or was it, Adam, 550 or something?
Yeah, I mean, you
for
a quarter pounder, it's like 700 calories.
Yeah, so one Big Mac, you're looking at an easy 800. But
the food helps overall. That's one thing that's like helped. I've been huge into meal prep for a long time. Like I look back on my memories, and 4 or 5 years ago, I was meal prepping like similar stuff to what I am now.
Oh wow!
But so far, like from moving from the construction industry into the fitness industry, it's treated me pretty well. I went to a local gym that just opened up in my area, in the Concord area, the Zoo Health Club.
Yep. It's a nice gym.
It is a nice gym.
That gym is immaculate, dude.
Yeah.
And
so jealous of that gym.
They opened up. I joined the gym first. And then after a while, like after a week or so, I was like, you know what? This is an opportunity. They're just opening. They must be looking for help or trainers.
Yeah.
And I was halfway done with my NASM certification.
Yeah, the CPT.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I told them that. I was like, hey, if you guys are looking for any help, I've never been in the industry before, but I'm willing to learn. I'm halfway through my thing. My test is this date. And they were like, yeah, we'll give you a shot. We don't usually do that, but we'll do that for you. And, within 3 months, I was the assistant manager. Within 4 or 5, I was the manager of the place.
I was going to say, you were their best seller, really, right?
Yeah. I set like sales records in the company, which is, I knew sales would be part of it. But I just have a passion about fitness. I like to talk to people about fitness.
Yeah.
I believe that, going into this industry has shown me strengths in areas that I wasn't really aware of.
Right. Yeah, I remember you telling me, like, you were like, yeah, dude, like, I'm actually kind of like killing the sales thing. I never expected that.
And I don't think I'm doing anything any different than anybody else. It's just that I think I can converse with people and make them understand that fitness is a big part of your life. If you don't pay attention to it, you're going to lose all the abilities that you might have now. Depending on how old you are, but it's never too early or too late to kind of, push your body in the right direction, I don't think.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I think that's the thing too, is like, I think when people think sales, they think it's like everything's got to be a pitch.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not. And I think that because you don't approach, I like just knowing you as a person, I know that's not how you approach people, that because you're not approaching people like you're selling them an item and you're just talking to them, that has like benefited you like so much. Right.
And the item is the answer.
That's the thing. It's like you don't have to bullshit about it because it's just like you're just like, this can help you. I'm just trying to show you that it can help you.
Right.
So it's like, you know what I mean? It takes like the pressure off. I feel like some people try to, when you say sales, it's like, I'll have to convince you that you need this. It's like, well, you do need this. I'm just showing you that you need it. Less so convincing you that like oh yeah, I'm gonna get you. You know,
Yeah.
which is tough to do in a gym setting because normally when I'm on the floor or something, you have to go up to somebody who's in the middle of a set, or not in the middle of a set, but working out,
Right.
or they're on a treadmill or something, and you go up to them and you ask them questions. Normally, people don't want to fucking talk to you when they're working out.
yeah.
If you came up to me and you're like, "Hey, man," I'd be like, "See you later."
Dude, yeah. Like, how do you even approach that? Actually, I was going to ask you because, like, I know people don't usually nobody really likes unsolicited advice. You know what I mean? Like, you're doing your own thing, and somebody's just like, "Hey, you should actually do it like this." Everybody would just be like, "Fuck off!" Like, who are you?
It depends on the person. Like part of my training to start getting better in sales was more people really just don't know. You have to. Anybody could use training. I would look at you guys in the gym and be like, those guys could use some training.
Yeah.
And what do you know? You both have personal trainers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's anybody can use training. Like whether it's mobility, whether it's you want to gain some muscle, you want to lose some fat, whatever it may be, anybody could use a trainer. And more often, what I'm seeing is corrective exercise is what people need the most. A lot of people are don't pay attention to that stuff. They just go in cold, work out.
So to that, dude, how do you? Because I feel like a lot of people. Yeah, I was gonna say because like usually I feel like somebody would be like, "Well, I don't want to spend all this time doing this. Like, how much do I really need to do this?" Even though somebody might have some terribly fucked up form, that kind of stuff.
You got to be because obviously if you approach the person and you're like, that looks horrible. They're gonna be like, "Well, fuck off."
Yeah.
I don't care what you say because now I just think you're a dick.
Right.
You got to go up to them and be typically like depending on who the person is and what they're doing. If I see someone doing like some really weird shit on a machine, I'd be like, "Hey, I noticed that you were doing this thing over here. Let's just say it's a cable pull down. It's one thing that I see a lot of issues with." I'll be like, "Hey, I noticed you were doing your cable pull down. Excellent exercise. I was just wondering if you wanted to see a way that I can maximize that movement for you." Because some people will be like, I'm doing it already. I wonder how to maximize it. If I'm not maximizing it now, what am I doing?
Yeah. Like,
So
you're
if
missing out on something.
Right.
You know?
And then I'll show them something as simple as like at the bottom of the motion for a cable pull down to bring the chest up and squeeze the shoulder blades together. They're like, "Wow." And I'm like, I'll touch their lat. And I'll be like, "Do you feel that down there?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Where'd you feel it before?" They were like, "In my abs." I'm like,
"Oh,
that's
whoa.
weird."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You shouldn't. This is a back exercise. You should feel it in your back." And then after that, they tend to open up. They're like, "Oh, well, okay." Then at that point, be like, "Do you have any other questions about anything in the gym?" They'll either say yes, or they'll be like, "Nope, that was it." And at the end of it, I can say, "Hey, my name is Andrew, fitness manager here. You can find me over at that desk. Please let me know if you need anything else." More often than not, people come up and ask questions at that point. But overall, instead of treating it as a sales floor, I treat it as my own house.
Yeah.
Right.
If all of these people were guests in my house, how would I treat them? And if I go up to each and every person in that gym, whether they're on cardio or anything, the least I can do is introduce myself and let them know that I'm there to help. And that's the best thing that you can do. Because even if they don't want to come up to you that point, maybe they've thought about fitness at some point in their life and they're like, "I've never been introduced to a personal trainer and now I have a personal trainer right in front of me. Maybe I should, I didn't know this gym offered this. Maybe I should take advantage of that option."
Right.
And now they know that they have that. And if they ever thought about it again, maybe that one touch turned into, "You know what? I got to take control of this."
Yeah. And
And I
they're
need
already in the
help.
gym, so like you already know they're interested in working out.
Right.
That maybe they just don't know what to do because they just started or whatever.
And some people, I'll be like, "Hey, what are you working on?" And they'll show me. They'll be like, "Oh, I'm just doing like back, bicep, whatever." And I'll ask to see their program. I'm like, "You got a program already? Let me see it. I want to see it." And they'll show me. I'll be like, "How long you been doing this?" And they'll be like, "Oh, like since the gym opened, like 4 or 5 months." And I'm like, "Oh, jeez. When was the last time you switched it up?" They're like, "I haven't switched it up in 2 years." I'm like, "Oh,
gosh."
I'm like, "Here, come with me." And
Yeah.
they follow me back to my desk and I get them in for an assessment. But overall, assessments, eye opener for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Assessments are huge, especially if you point out something as small as, their knees turning in. And like a lot of people, they don't care about that, depending on the demographic. So if I told, if I ran into a 60-year-old and I'm like, hey, your knee's turning and this can cause a problem because of this, this, and this, they don't care about that. Really.
Interesting.
They don't.
I almost thought it would be the flip.
Yeah.
No, they don't. Because what they care about are things that they do now. They don't want to learn new stuff because they're like, oh, well, I'm fucking 60. What does it matter? I don't want to learn how to do a squat.
Right.
But I'd be like, well, here's why you could do a squat. Do you have grandkids? They're like, I do have grandkids. I'm like, do you like picking your grandkids up? They're like, oh, yeah. I'm like, what would happen if you squatted down to pick your grandkids up and you blew a knee out? And they're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Well, that's a great point.
And I'm like, I'm not trying to scare you, but it's how shit happens. I've got a 30-year-old client who slipped a disc going for a bottle of shampoo.
Dude, it's always the dumbest little thing.
It's the stupidest things. And I'm like, dude, if you don't pay attention to this now, that's going to happen to you. It's not a question of how it's going to happen. It's a question of when.
Yeah.
Because it could.
Yeah.
You're never whatever the fucking name is.
Yeah.
Never,
Susceptible.
Don't worry, I do it all the time on the podcast.
You're never going to get away from anything like that.
Yeah.
Right.
No matter how healthy you are, no matter how fit you are, there's going to be something that happens. You could pull something. You guys are both incredibly fit, but you guys just pulled something recently, right?
Yeah. It was like, I had hamstring back in the day.
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago. I pulled both of my hamstrings, and then friggin' literally like 5 months ago, I like burned out my bicep and shoulder and trap.
Oh, that's right.
You guys are doing like exercises to fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just know that it takes a long time and I'm like motivated to keep with it. Whereas like, I know a lot of family members that have like back issues and I'm like, oh, well, like you can, if you do the right stretches and you're consistent with some exercise, like you can get rid of that. And
another thing too, literally is like the amount of time it takes to fix something like that is way shorter just because like we've already been lifting and stuff.
Right.
Like getting somebody who's completely deconditioned who just got hurt to like, all right, let's fix it and then get back in shape takes longer.
Right. And it's more like tedious for them because what if they're not already, used to moving at all?
Yeah.
Like gym stuff. Having them do a few stretches is like a workout for them.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent of them doing physical exercise. So depending on the person, they might just stay away from it completely.
Yeah.
But people like you guys who work out regularly, just fitting in some time to stretch is just like it's benefiting you.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of people are lacking stretching, mobility. That's
dude.
Anything.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely, I think it's probably, do you find that it's easier to convince the older generation to do stretching than it is the younger people?
Yeah, just because moms love me.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I just like talking to that. I feel more connected to like, older people, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just because they know that they don't know better. Or it depends on the person because some old people are like, I know everything. But some old people are wise enough to, have humility where they're like, I actually have no fucking idea what's going on.
Right.
And those are the easiest people to like kind of, I wouldn't even say convince to get personal training is to tag them along with the idea of it.
Right.
Because otherwise, how the fuck are you going to do the thing that you're coming here to do?
Right.
Why waste your time and money?
Yeah. I mean, I really like the way that you approach like the whole, like, can I show you a way to maximize that?
Yeah.
Because like what you're saying is that like you're doing it.
Right.
But like there's like one or two things you could change to make it even better. And I think people are generally more receptive to that than you're doing that wrong.
Yeah. Right. Instead of like an attack.
Because the reality of it is so many people come into the gym and use like, an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, maybe sometimes.
Yeah.
A day, if anything, 3 to 5 times a week.
Yeah.
Of their lives.
Yeah.
Time that they can be using to spend with their family or making money, or maybe they run a business. That can be valuable time to them.
Right.
And they're wasting their fucking time. They don't get enough rest. They're doing shit in between sets. They're not training smart. And that's one of the best things or for like leverage or anything for someone who's on the fence of personal training. Why would you want to come in here and waste valuable time and energy and money on something that you're just going to turn your back on in 5 months rather than doing it correctly, efficiently, and effectively?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because that's the best, why spend twice the time in here when you can spend half the time in here and get the same results or if not better results.
Yeah, especially if not better. Because like, if you're following something via a personal trainer, it's a lot more targeted.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of things like, I don't even really like programming myself.
Yeah.
Even though I think I have the knowledge to do so. I personally enjoy having a personal trainer write stuff for me because it's a challenge for myself, but I also know that it's really, really guided and it's not like thought about my own maybe insecurities of why I'm in the gym. There's a trainer, he's made a whole program just for me for things like, oh, you're lacking a little bit here.
Right.
Maybe normally I wouldn't focus on that for myself, but because someone else has thought about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Right. And sometimes it takes that extra
Dude, exactly.
push.
And it's like, it's also like all right, you might not push yourself as hard. Maybe he's like, do this percentage lift, weight for this lift.
It's accountability.
And it's like, just follow this.
Right.
It's like, I don't have to think about it. This guy's got me.
Most people have a problem just coming into the gym and they're like, I'm here. What am I going to do?
Yeah, dude.
Like, I can't tell you how many times I've like stopped somebody on a treadmill to talk to them and they're like, I'm like, what are you working on today? And they're like, I really don't know.
Oh man.
I'm like, you don't know what you're working on today? And they're like, I'm like, why are you here?
Yeah.
You're just going to walk on the treadmill? You could have done that outside.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed you said like telling people to rest longer. And I was wondering cause I know, dude, I can't remember who I was like doing exercise with. I think it might've been my brother-in-law, but I was like, all right, we're going to rest for like 2 minutes in between the sets. And he's like trying to do superset everything. Every set. He's like, I don't want to be
Push-ups
resting. I'm going to jump
between.
rope in between the sets. I'm like, dude, no, like you need to relax.
Yeah.
You have trouble kind of like telling people like, hey, you need to just chill out.
Yeah. And that's where I find it a great opportunity to educate. Because in that time where they're resting, you have sometimes 3 minutes where you're not doing anything in between the set. And they're wondering, sitting there like, I'm not working out right now.
Yeah.
What
I got my heart rate. I got to keep my heart rate above 120. What's going on?
What am I paying for? So that is where I would say, like, that's where I would ask and be like, now, do you know why we're resting right now? And typically they'll be like, no. Why?
No, I was wondering actually what the fuck.
I'm like, we're just sitting here. I'm like, well, yeah, you need to. And so I go on and explain to them why rest is important for them. And they're like, oh. And then from then, when I put in the rest, I check with them. I'm like, are you doing okay with your rest? Are you keeping on track with that? They're like, yeah. They like pay extra close attention to those kind of things once you explain it to them. Because otherwise they're just like, well, why should I do that?
Dude.
I don't have to.
Yeah.
Because if it's like, oh, I can rest 2 minutes or 3 minutes in between, but then I have to stay here longer. When you don't know why you need to do that, why would you do it?
Yeah. Right, yeah.
You're like, I could just leave here in like fucking 20 minutes earlier.
Yeah, if I don't rest. Yeah.
So explaining to them why rest is important and why it's important to take it easy and go through the set. And whenever they have questions about something, which they will, explain to them why. And then it gives them a better understanding, because as a personal trainer, it's not only your job to educate, but it's your job to really drive that information into them so they don't have to fucking come back to you.
Yeah.
I mean, the goal is to have, clients for a long time. Some people love to train with trainers, and even though they're learning a bunch of stuff, they still want to do it. But for the average person, sometimes they just want to get educated.
Yeah.
And that's one of the, another great sales pitch is
like you want your client to be self-sufficient.
Right. I'm like, I don't want you to come in here a year from now and still have no idea where you're fucking doing and back in square one. Because once you leave me, I don't want you to come back. If you come back to me, I didn't do my job.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to reach your goal and then like go on with your life with the information and education that you left there with.
Right. And if you want to stay by, still get personal training because it's just you enjoy it and you like having the recipe for your body, like that's fun and that's cool. But like the idea that like you're not creating an environment where they're dependent on you. It's only like they like you.
Yeah. It's like you see me once or twice a week. I give you days to do on your own.
Yep.
And I'm like, apply the knowledge that you learned this time, do it on your own. And when you come back, I'll check in. But overall, I want them to be self-sufficient in their training. Like I tell them, I'll teach you how to switch up your workouts every 4 to 6 weeks to make sure that you're maximizing your results.
Yep.
And have them go through, like diet changes, when to go into a bulk, when to go into a cut, why you want to eat this many calories. Because 9 times out of 10, the person sitting across from me at the desk is not eating enough calories.
Really?
Not.
It's funny.
Protein?
John said the same thing.
They
explain a little bit more about that.
it was what I was talking about earlier, the salads.
Oh, the salads.
Every time I'm like, hey, how's the diet going? They're like, well, I had a few salads. And I'm like, don't care. Because that's the first thing that they tell me during the assessment. I'll be like, all right, so how many calories do you eat in a day? They're like, I have no idea. I'm like, how many times do you eat in a day? They're like, 2 to 3 normally, people will say. Yep. And I'm like, okay, now how much... Well, I'll already have gone through their weight and everything. And I'll be like, okay, so you're, let's say 150 pounds. Would you say you're eating 100 to 120 grams of protein a day? They would be like, no. Yeah. No, definitely not. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. And I'm like, now what about carbs?
Probably not
like,
close.
They're like, oh yeah, I don't do carbs. Like really happy about it too.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's a problem.
I never eat a carb.
Yeah. No carbs here. And I'm like, okay, great. Now what about fats? And they're like, I try to stay low on the fats too. I'm like, okay.
Like, so you don't eat food.
I'm like, all right, so great.
Yeah, the salad thing is so funny.
Just drink water.
Because like people are like, oh, I have this big salad, and they're like so proud thinking that that's like the healthy move. And I think it's definitely a media-based thing. They're like, oh, you're going on a cut, got to start eating those salads. Well,
dude, and it's also just drenched in, usually drenched in dressing.
It's all the people like eating the salads in the pictures, like smiling, like.
But you're right though. Like if you're not eating like lean meats, then I have a very hard time believing that you're getting over 120 grams of protein. You know what I mean? Or
they're like, I'll do, some of them are like, oh, I'll do the protein shakes, but they're the already made ones. Like, like what are the?
Oh, the like
muscle milk.
Yeah, muscle milk or like NutriFast or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. I'm like, have you ever looked at the label? Like I think vegetable oil is like one of the first ingredients up on that thing. So I'm like, oh, okay. That doesn't look too good. So, more often than not, I generally increase the diet and calories slowly.
Right.
Look to see where they gain or lose. If they lose too much weight, I got to put the weight up a little bit. If they gain a little bit of weight, even with this, if it's a pound or two, go down with the calories. So normally when people come and see me, they're eating less than their BMR. So like, the average person is probably eating like 1,100 to 1,300 calories, which is not a lot.
That's crazy. That's like the average that you see.
I'm not surprised, dude. Just even talking to like family members, I'm like, really?
And that's like the average. That's like, my average client's probably like 30s to 40s.
That's crazy,
dude. But anything above that or anything below that, they eat way less.
Oh, wow,
old people, I'm like, what do you eat? They're like, I have a cheese wheel, like one of those little cheese wheels.
I had banana for breakfast and a cup of coffee.
Yeah. Literally.
Like,
one lady's like, I have a muffin, a coffee, and then like I'll eat a sandwich at noon, and then I'll eat like something at dinner, like some fruits or something. I'm like,
dude.
I'm like, that's hardly 700 calories. The first thing that they notice is that like their energy is like through the roof. They can think clear. I'm like, well, like duh.
So how do you bring up like the topic of nutrition? Like, because I'm guessing primarily you do programming first, right? And then
so being certified as like a nutrition specialist, it's very like you're walking on eggshells with what you do.
Yeah.
Like, especially in my gym, there's a registered dietitian in there. So I can't really do too much. I can give you a good idea and a guidance of what to do, but I cannot like write you a meal plan without stepping on the toes of the registered dietitian.
So do you have to refer to the...
If anything, if they're like, if they have anything related to diabetes, I'll put them to a diabetes specialist.
Okay,
Or if there's anything like crazy, like, hypertension or something, I'll put them to the dietitian because even though I know how to do that, I'm not trying to fuck anybody up and I am not insured for that. So it's like, it's walking on eggshells. So you can tell somebody to fix their diet, but it's hard. You got to take baby steps.
Calories, like macros. Is that like the kind of stuff you're like, all right, how many calories?
I figure out the macros. I send it to them. I set them up on, a macro tracker. Like I I have them use MyFitnessPal.
Right.
And, that way I can add them as a friend on it. I can see what they're doing. If they're lying to me, I can pull up and be like, well, right here, it says you're fucking lying. Salad dressings. From there, I'll say eat this for a day because it'll give you like a whatever. I'll say eat what you have been for what you've been eating for like the last week or two or month or whatever. Don't change your diet at all. Put it in the app and come and see me in a week.
Oh, that's smart.
They will do that, and I'll be like, all right, open up the app. Sometimes they'll miss a few days. Sometimes, or most of the time they'll actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be like, first of all, good job on actually doing that.
Right.
So now you are consistent in putting that into the app. Now it's a part of your routine.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to keep on doing that. And now I'm going to go through and look at what you're low and what you're high. Because if they keep on, it'll have their levels of what they need. And if they see what they've been eating compared to what they need, it's like black and white. They're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm like super low on carbs, super low on protein, and my fats are like through the roof usually. That's how it is.
Do you think people are being like fully transparent, like with even snacking and stuff too?
I don't.
Yeah.
But from what I'm seeing there, it's what I got to work with.
Right.
Because you can't bend somebody's arm and to be like, are you sure that you put that in?
Yeah.
I know you. So you got to kind of take it easy. And from there, I would focus on one thing at a time. Mainly starting with vegetables, because mostly people don't like to eat vegetables. I'd be like, so that salad that you have once a day or whatever, I want you to eat that salad with something else 3 times a day.
Right.
As your vegetable. So like whether it be a cup or 2 cups, you could still eat the salad. Just keep it in there 3 times a day in smaller portions. Like that kid who ate the huge fucking salad.
Yeah, the 1 salad a day.
Be like, yeah, split that up into 4 times and eat that regularly throughout the day and add some chicken. That's where I would start off with.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'd be like, all right, I want you to take that salad out, substitute it with broccoli.
Yeah, something that's got a little more sustenance to it.
And continuously add calories until they are at a point where they're eating like what I say, 1,200, 1,300 before.
Yeah.
Eating like 1,800 and still the same weight that they were before.
Yeah.
there you go.
That's overall what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean and honestly, I think that's where most people want to be.
Right.
Like a lot of people, like they want to lose a little bit of weight, but it would be great if they could eat this more than they are now.
And that's how it happens.
But be the same way.
But just to clarify to whoever's listening, that is with a resistance plan, like a well put together resistance training protocol.
Right.
Like if you just increase your calories over time, I don't know how that's going to work out for you, especially if your metabolism is low.
Yeah, that's a good
you
point.
gotta work on increasing the metabolism, eating more frequently, drinking more water, resistance training.
Yeah.
You can't do this with cardio. You're going to be spinning your tires in like 2 to 3 months.
Right.
So
because your body's just going to slow that metabolism down and make that cardio, less and less effective.
But so far it's different for everybody.
Right.
But if there was a thing that has worked out the best is taking a look at somebody's diet, incorporating resistance training and increasing the calories, because more often than not, especially in this day and age, people are like, oh, low calorie, everything is fucking great.
Oh, yeah.
But
low calorie, low carb.
It's not doing anything for your
protein
body.
bars, protein cereals.
I mean, like, protein cereal sounds great.
Yeah. Magic spoon.
I
right?
know.
Nobody really gets enough
but
protein, so
Yeah.
everything has protein in it. And like people are like, that's fucking great. Like whether it's a protein bar or what,
Yeah.
you eat a protein bar, that's just a candy bar with some protein in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. As opposed to trying to get it from like an actual
Yeah.
food
Or like
source,
protein brownies.
Dude, I ate like
You
ate
guys
the whole
like
pan last
cleared
night.
a whole pan, and I was like, oh, at least there's protein in it, right?
kind of. It wasn't even really like it. They were just kind of brownies. Like
It was just kind of
good.
a thick ass pancake.
It was good though.
But switching gears here, kind of like not really related, but sort of related. So you do group. Well, hold on. First of all, because I know I noticed you said you have a nutrition cert now. What's your cert count out? What do you got here?
I'm working on my 3rd. So
Nice.
I've got my CPT and my CNS from NASM, and I'm working on getting my CPPS level 2, which I'm super excited for. I'm going to start that Monday.
CPPS level 2.
Yeah.
So what is that like?
So
Is it
it's
Joe DeFranco?
Yeah, Joe DeFranco's. And what's his name? It's like something Smith, Smitty Diesel. I don't know
Diesel.
who it is, but his name is fucking sick. So shout out.
D.
Joe DeFranco, Smitty
awesome.
Diesel. It's their kind of protocol for like a certification.
Mhm.
I discovered it on Mind Pump.
Oh shoot!
So I was
Okay,
listening to that
Yep.
on Mind Pump, and they were talking about it. They talked really well about it. I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. Let me look into that some more. And I followed Joe DeFranco on Instagram,
Mhm.
and I just watched him
Puts
for a
out good
while.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
And he's got good shit on it, like great content on his
Yeah.
Instagram. And, I've even used a few of his movements on my own programs, on my clients' programs. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to look deeper into this. I've been wanting a certification because of, quarantine. And it wouldn't let me before because you would have to go to his facility and take it's like
wow, like you'd
in
physically
class.
be there. Yeah.
and last year or something, they held it at the Mind Pump studio.
They hosted and I
Yeah.
remember he used to do it too. He did it at like the On It place
Yeah.
too. He used to have a gym in the On It
Yep, right.
facility.
So it's now they have it online. So that's why I just saw that, I pulled the trigger, and I was like, you can't put a price on good education. And I think
Yeah, that's a good point.
no matter how many certifications I have, I don't think it's going to be enough.
Right.
There's always new information coming
Yeah.
out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And just looking through the certification, it covers a bunch of shit that I haven't learned before from CPT or anything. But that's from years and years of experience of working with different sports athletes. Joe
Yeah.
DeFranco has all this great information from
Yeah.
years of experience.
I mean, and for Mind Pump to speak so highly of it too, I think
yeah,
is
they're pretty strict on things. They speak their mind about products, and if they got
Yeah.
a good thing to say about it, obviously I'm going to check it out.
Yeah.
It ruins their credibility if they back something that's
Right.
just like bullshit
Right.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, I know. I think his certification, from what I've read, is like pretty involved. They have like, videotape yourself doing something like this with a client, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and like to act like legitimately. Like,
There's a printout, like there's a whole thing where you gotta print out like this whole pamphlet. You gotta put it in a 3-ring binder. It gives you all of these pages that go along with the program or module that you're watching, so you could take notes, like written
that's
notes,
awesome.
which is great because
Yeah.
that's something I need for sure. And it looks super involved. I'll let you know how it is when I actually start to get cracking with it. But I'm super excited to learn more about it. It's more like strength and conditioning kind of thing. So
That's
like
cool. That's an interesting
involving more, plyometrics. The CPT NASM was more like corrective exercise, which is great.
Yeah.
I think that's important, and that really set a good foundation for my education. And so same thing with the nutrition, but this I think has taken it to the next level.
Mhm.
Next step from there, I think I'm looking at CSCS.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Wow.
CSCS or a corrective exercise specialist would be great too.
Yeah.
So-
Well, like you said, like a lot of the stuff that you see is in corrective
Yeah.
exercise.
I mean,
anyhow.
I'm probably gonna get both of them. It just depends on which ones comes first. But
Yeah.
Right.
So I was gonna ask actually before the cert thing. So like group classes versus like individual classes. Like what do you like and dislike about group classes? 'Cause I know you said you do some of those too.
So group classes, they're good for the average gym goer. Do I think that they're a lifelong answer? No. Group classes, I think, would be really good for the, it's an old kind of thing. Like the 80s, they had like, what was that?
Like jazzercise
Yeah,
and like the
jazzercise and,
dancing
like,
or whatever.
Jumping around and all that shit. That's like the model that it's built off of.
Yeah.
But I teach a class that's like, it's functional exercise. So
That's better.
the class that I teach, I'm more of a fan of, just because it teaches clients good movements. The thing is, in a class setting, people join the classes to sweat.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So how do you run a class? Because I know you're right. People are just like, I just want to like jump up and down and stuff.
People don't like, some people don't like the way that I teach because I'm very serious about it. But if I see, like, if we're doing some exercise, right, and I have a group of like 5, 6, 7 people, sometimes 10, I'm gonna stop somebody if I see their form is bad. Everybody can continue, but I'm going to stop the person. I'm going to go over it with it. And then the next time that exercise comes around, I'm going to stay with them and I'm going to watch them do it, because I want to make sure that everybody can do the exercises. Because why join the class if you're not going to do them well?
Yeah. No, I think that's a great method. Instead of just like you said,
Right.
like everyone's just kind of there for the sweat point of it.
Either that, or I pull them aside after the class and I'll talk to them about personal training options.
I was gonna say, do you ever get like single clients who are like, hey, can I actually just train with you regularly? Or?
It depends. Sometimes like people come up to me and they're like, hey, you know, I've also seen you train people individually here. I'm interested in that. Can you tell me more about that? I'll take them through an assessment, you know, get a look at what they need and be like, yeah, you know, I can help you out with that. Or some people I see and they, you know, they definitely know that they suck and they don't want to talk to me about it. So I go up to them and I'm like, hey, you know, I noticed that, you know, your back is super arched when you're doing this and your knees are all over the place. You're flopping around the floor. Maybe you should come in and see me for an assessment and we can talk about things that you could correct to make this class a little bit more enjoyable and effective for you. And they'll be like, oh yeah, sure. Yeah, you know, I can do that at least. And then even if they say no to the personal training, they know that they have that issue and they can address it if anything. And you know, that's one touch, 3 touches, 4 touches, maybe like 5 weeks down the road. I'll be like, hey, so how are you doing with your knee?
Yeah.
She's like, no, you know, I looked up ways to do it on the internet, but I don't know how to do it. I'll be like, oh, I'll show you something that you can, you know, do really quick. It's things like that people recognize and they're like, oh, you know, he didn't have to do that. Maybe I will get training from him someday.
Right.
And she's in my class anyway. I'm going to see her again.
Yeah.
And if she feels uncomfortable, she can tell me. But it's really, I'm just trying to make sure that everybody's moving correctly, doing the best they can. Do I think the classes are like the best way to do that? No. Because I can only give you so much attention because there's sometimes 10 people in a class. I can't babysit you the whole time because I think that your form sucks.
Right. Right.
But overall, don't think classes are the go-to. I think personal training obviously would be a better long-term thing.
Yeah.
But classes are good to sprinkle in here and there to get a good sweat on. But more often when people come in for those classes, they're not in it for the education. They're in it to get moving, get sweating. Some people complain when I have to stop the class and like explain a movement. I'm like, well, I can explain the movement now and have it work out for you really well, or you can just go off on a whim and I won't say anything to you. So,
yeah,
which I don't want to do.
Well, that's the thing. And also, I mean, I feel like you're right. I feel like most of the classes, when I think of a group exercise, I'm thinking of just people on bikes. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like
okay.
spin, like almost like spin class. But like, and then I've seen, you know, classes like that, but usually it's like, all right, we're going to do jump squats for the next 30 minutes.
Right. Yeah. And it's like those kind of classes, those are the ones that I would say like use here and there. But if you're already a seasoned gym goer, like spin classes or like, you know, a class that does like jump squats,
like the Zumba type thing or whatever.
Yeah. If you're doing a spin class, that's good. That's just cardio, but don't make that the foundation of your routine. Like that along with weight training. If you did a spin class 2 times a week with like a 5-day-a-week weight training thing, you'd be fucking solid.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be a great program actually. Yeah.
And like if you were doing jump squats, but you weren't into doing jump squats, because, you know, let's face it, like the average class goer above the age of like 25. Above that age. I'm more towards the age of like 30, 40.
Yeah. I can totally see that.
It's a nightmare if I see them fucking doing jump squats.
Dude, just any sort of jumping is really like for older people. I'm like, well, you're not in high school. What are you doing?
Yeah. But the good thing is having those kind of areas in your gym and, you know, being friendly with all the trainers that do the classes and all the people that run those kind of things, you can talk to them and be like, hey, do you mind if I sit in for your class today? And before the class, I'll be like, hey guys, you know, this is a perfect opportunity for me to introduce myself to a whole different demographic of people that probably would never see me at the gym because they just go straight into the class. So I'd be like, hey guys, you know, my name is Andrew. I'm the fitness manager here. If you guys have any questions for me, I'm just going to sit in for the class and, you know, correct as I go. They'll go through the class. I'll, you know, take some people aside, be like, hey, you know, like, you know, get a little bit deeper into your squat, bring your shoulders back kind of thing. Push them back into their thing. And then after the class, they could come up to me and ask me questions, or, you know, they could set up a consultation with me. But, you know, putting yourself in an environment where people really don't know what they're doing and giving them an opportunity to ask for help is huge, in my opinion. Because some people need it. And some people don't want to come and like find you to ask for help. But if you're right there, maybe that's just the push that they need to be like, hey, you know, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Can you help me?
Yeah. And I think that is a lot of people, man. Like there's this kid I was training right before all this quarantine stuff happened, and back in like January, and he was like, I have no idea what to do in the gym. There's all this equipment, there's all these weights, and I don't know what any of it does, and I don't know how to like do it. And I had one session with him, and I wrote him a program, and he's like, I don't know how have I not been here for my whole life? He's like, when you have an actual set program to do, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You have like a huge sense of accomplishment when you leave, because it's like you checked off all the boxes and now it's time to leave.
And you were saying you were the same way too. Like I'm the same way too. Like if I have a program that I could follow, it's much easier for me to stay in the gym until I see all of those things checked off.
Yeah, dude. Right. It's like a to-do list.
Yeah.
And you're like, I got some shit done today.
Right. If you go somewhere without a plan, you're not going to really get a result.
It's paralysis by analysis. You're going to be like, oh, maybe I should do one of these, and you end up doing a bunch of random shit, and you're like, well, what did I actually even do?
Yeah. I think I like to compare it to like, baking a cake. Or any baked good. Like you can play it by eye. You know, you can kind of put some stuff in and whatever. But if you get a good recipe for a baked item and you follow it exactly as planned, you're gonna get a banging cake.
I typically use the analogy of a house.
Oh, that's probably a good way to do it too.
Yeah, I like the cake one though. That's that's a good one. Building a house. It's very similar to. I typically use the building a house thing for like guys in construction because I see them a lot.
Yeah.
They all have like shoulder issues and shit like that, which I've seen. Of course, I've done construction for a long time. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to get out of it, because all the guys around me were hurting. Yeah. So I'll use the analogy of building a house. You can't build a house and lay the framework without having a foundation.
Right.
You can build the house on like sand and shit, but it's going to be all like out of level. It can collapse in on you. It's not, you can build it, but it's not going to look great.
Yeah.
Unless you build a concrete foundation and then build up off of that. That way it's there, and it's also going to stay a lot longer.
Right.
It's not going to break down on you after, 10, 20 years.
Yeah. Cause like you said, having that foundation, which is like the foundational concepts, I'm guessing is how your analogy of actually training, that if you fall off and you have to come back to it, you have that foundational knowledge, you can kind of build back up again.
And you can, it's like a tornado hit your house.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
It could knock you down, but as long as that concrete foundation is still there, you can rebuild the house.
Right. Yeah.
It's not going to completely take your whole house out of the fucking floor.
Right.
Or ground or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not going to take the cake out of your house. All right.
The cake's. Oh, man. So, kind of like moving forward here, now that you're a trainer, you've been training people, like what are some of your kind of like goals going forward?
Well, with the gym industry changing the way it is because of Corona, I personally, some people may not think this, but I personally think there's going to be an influx of people who want one-on-one attention. More because of people aren't going to be like rushing through the gym doors. Some people would, like me and you guys.
Yeah.
But most people who aren't like super into the gym and like maybe just started trying to get back onto their fitness goal this year, maybe they're just going to hang out until the next year. And they'll be like, oh, well, last year's goal is gone. This year's goal is gone. I'll work on it next year.
Right.
I think people are going to be more inclined to get a one-on-one trainer. More because they're going to know the benefit. People are becoming more aware of the benefit of personal training, I think.
Right.
And because we'll have one-on-one services you can do by appointment. That way, you can clean up in between. You get more one-on-one attention.
Yeah.
And it's more wrapped around you, not a bunch of dudes going to the gym and like not wiping down everything.
Right.
That being said, my goal would be to open up my own studio.
Oh, wow.
One-on-one training, by appointment only, no members. You just, you come in, you want training, you've got it.
Wow.
But very specialty training. So like really paying close attention to whatever, because there's a bunch of training studios in Concord, but they're all like 30-minute sessions and, come in and you can sweat for like 45 minutes and they'll tell you to go home.
Right.
Yeah.
The whole goal is how much should you sweat?
Right. And that's not, I know as a personal trainer that, and I know as someone who has like still working on my own personal fitness goals, that is not that fucking easy. And if you're spending good money on a trainer, might as well squeeze every bit of benefit from it.
Right.
Because when I paid for a trainer, when I paid for John, like if I stopped like 5 minutes short of my cardio, I was like, I'm wasting my money.
Yeah.
This is not doing it for me, dude.
Yeah.
But not everybody has that same mentality. I've got clients still who like pay monthly, like for a lot of fucking money, and they don't show up. They don't show up for sessions. They leave me on red all the time. I'm like, okay, maybe I don't know. Maybe they just think I smell.
Kind of the same way as you, though, dude. Back when I was getting programs from John, it was like I hated leaving. If I was like, oh my god, I once said like when I have to go to work, whatever.
Yeah.
I hate it.
So like, you know, I'm the same. I'm the same way. If I don't write my own program out, I'm never gonna do all the stuff that I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna wing it every time, and that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
But overall, I would love to open up my own studio. I think with everything going in the way it is, people are gonna value that more. I think the time away from everybody has given people a better understanding of value. You know, people are starting to realize, you know, like, why am I spending all this money on shit? Because it's done nothing for me this entire quarantine.
Yeah.
Rather than like if they paid for personal training, you're still getting value throughout the quarantine because most people throughout the quarantine just stop training.
I was gonna say, you think like a lot of people have all this free time and they're like, well, and I'm not leaving the house, so like maybe I should start thinking about exercising, but then like what the hell do I even do? Because I've never gone to the gym.
And like if they have nothing at their house, they're like, oh shit, I didn't even know what to do with weights.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to do with my body. How am I gonna manipulate that to give me good results? So you know, that's one thing that I've found success with is working with people one-on-one, either via Zoom or, you know, meeting them at a field in an open area and keeping like 6 feet distance, where they can still get a good workout in and I can still coach them through the movements to make sure that they're getting benefit from it.
Right.
Rather than all their friends who are just like, well, the gym's closed. I can't really do anything. So I'm just going to say, fuck it.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, fuck it and maybe go on a walk.
Right.
Maybe.
And the people who are still staying training are seeing great results, whether it's like mobility in their hip or, you know, fixing an imbalance that they have. Like this time especially is the best time to start fixing imbalances in my clients. That way, when they come back to the gym and they start lifting weights again, it's just going to be more effective. They don't have to play fucking catch up like everybody else does.
Right.
So that's one thing that's been helping me. As far as the future goes, more certifications. I'd love to open up my own place pretty soon. Give people the best training experience in New Hampshire, possibly New England, possibly the US.
Love it.
Yeah.
Now, wait, how do you even go about like, because you'd have to rent out some space, right? Do you have like your eyes on anything?
I mean, I've been looking around, you know, like in reality of it, I know myself well enough. Like I just started in the industry, you know, that's a goal of mine.
Right.
But I also am aware enough that I need clientele. I need a good name under me. You know, and that's what I'm focused on now.
Experience, then
getting
wisdom.
more experience, meeting with new clientele, getting my name out there as a trainer, and giving people more value. You know, as long as I can motivate, educate, and inspire most of my clients, that's the goal there.
Right.
Because a lot of my clients, you know, I've got great clients that I love meeting with, love seeing all the time. They say nothing but good things and they bring in extra clients.
Right.
So if they
word of mouth,
if they have, you know, word of mouth is the best advertisement.
It absolutely is. Because there's nothing better than your buddy saying, yeah, this is good.
Right. And like if you're like you, for example, you and Adam both told me about John. I bought training from John.
Yep.
I didn't even know the guy. I've never met him once in my life.
Yep.
And I bought training from him and it worked.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's all about word of mouth. And I've gotten quite a few clients from just word of mouth. So if I do that for 1 or 2 more years, you know, I have the experience, probably got a few more certifications.
Yep.
Probably look a lot better.
Yep.
And then
probably be super jacked, you know?
Yeah, you know, and then I can finally open up a place. But that's been a goal of mine since I was young, but I just never really pulled trigger up until, you know, October.
Yeah.
And so far I haven't looked back. So far I've been loving it.
Yeah. Well, dude, I was like, as soon as you started telling me about it, I was like, you were kind of meant for this. You know,
Yeah,
in
dude.
like in just like every way imaginable. It's just you didn't know because you were in construction for so long.
And like, talking to people in construction, nobody gives a fuck, dude. I
Yeah,
would talk
dude.
about, there was one guy that I would talk about fitness with, but nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
But everybody in construction just knows that you shouldn't do that.
Oh yeah, no.
They're like, dude, don't do this for the rest of your life. Trust me. I'm like, I know, dude.
I know.
I can see you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like it's funny too, because a lot of the guys in construction kind of need it the most. Like they need that like correctional exercise and
that
stuff.
being said, like I do, like don't get me wrong, it's super respect everybody in construction. I worked there for 5 years. Like respect
Fuck
you guys.
everyone in construction.
Yeah. I'm roasting you because I think you guys need help.
Yeah.
Well, imagine you're working like you're doing physical labor all day. They probably I'm not gonna go lift heavy weights.
This was my workout all day.
And that's exactly what they think. So when they saw me or like talk to any of the young kids that were like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym after this, they're like, what? But that being said, we care more. All these guys, there's a huge fucking age gap in construction right now.
Yeah.
You're either 50 or you're 20.
That's kind of crazy.
And like there's no in between really. If you're in between, you're like a manager or something. But when you're on the field, you're either 20 or you're 50. And then none of them gave a shit. And if you even talked about like fitness or like caring about
health,
health, they're like, fuck pussy, rip butts.
Yeah.
And like all of them would just say like, oh yeah, dude, I can't wait to go home. Have like, today's a 5 or 6 beer kind of night every day though. And I'm like, that sounds like alcoholism.
That sounds like you have a problem, sir.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I don't know where I was going with that. That was it.
That was a good one.
Well, I guess one thing I was wondering, like, what's your main? So what was the shift like from what you were doing before and now Rona times? Obviously, you were doing one-on-ones and like group classes and whatever. And like now, what are you primarily doing? You said Zoom calls and
so I've been
work.
trying to get my Instagram and my social media off the ground. So I've been focusing on recording good content. Making good content, getting ideas together for that. But overall, like if I'm not doing that, I'm working with clients one-on-one instead of 30 minutes. It's been an hour.
Mhm.
And personally, I love doing that.
Right.
And I'm going to definitely change the business model of my company when we get back to the gym. I think hour sessions are the way to go all day because fuck a 30-minute session.
30-minute session, it must feel kind of rushed. Because like sometimes you can like warm up for 10, 15 minutes and then all of a sudden you only have 20 minutes left.
Right. And it's like, the session's only 30 minutes. So what I would do is I would take them through one movement each. Just like take them through each and every movement, watch them do it, make sure it's okay, and then they go do it by themselves. I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I would do that like 18 times in a row. Because it's 30-minute sessions. I'm there fucking from like 5 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Right.
It's like bam, 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 like all 10 different people all in a row.
Right.
Rather than like, 5 or 6, 7 people maybe for an hour session. It's much more engaged. I can spend more time with you.
Right. Right.
I can talk a little bit more and not fucking worry about having like, I got to get to the next exercise kind of thing.
Yeah.
So 1 hour sessions I've been doing with them at the field. Which has been great. I love working out at the field. I probably will still work out there once the gym opens back up.
What's like the focus in the field?
The focus is that it's an open area and I won't like cough on them or anything.
Right. Yep. Of course.
But working with, they like the open area feel because they think it's not like super crowded. They don't feel weird working out
Get
in
some
public.
fresh air.
Yeah. Working out in the fresh air, getting them outside is a big thing. But all you really need there is like bands, because then there's the bleachers you can use for box jumps or like step ups or anything like that.
Right.
Which has been helpful for them. But really, it's just to get them to meet somewhere and show them the movements. Because otherwise, I can go through the Zoom call with them, but are they going to be like excited? I just got done reading this book called The Energy Bus. Have you guys read it?
No.
Fucking great book.
Oh, yeah.
Energy Bus. Huh?
Energy Bus, great book. And now one thing that I've been really like focused on is being super energetic when I meet with my clients. And that's something that helps at the field. I can show up and be like, yo, like, let's fucking work out. But over Zoom, I'm like sitting on my couch, like Tucker's right there, like walking by me. I'm like, hey, what's going on?
It's just awkward because there's always like a connection thing, and it's like, oh, well, I have to wait for you to stop talking, and you know what I mean? There's
or
always
like a
that
lag or something.
Yeah, and so I don't know. You're right, and I'm sure, dude, people are probably so excited to just like actually talk to someone face to face and like be outside, not in their house.
Getting them out of the house has been big. I haven't really been doing too many group classes. I tried to start one up, but I only got one member right now, so
it's kind of tough.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
but she meets with me, you know, in the morning for like 45 minutes, and I take her through a good workout. It's different than personal training. Mm-hmm. I'm not like taking a look at her diet and taking a look at like where she needs to improve, but I'm still paying good attention to her because the only person there. I'll correct her form and everything. But overall, I've just been trying to make do. You know, out of the 40 or 50 clients that I had before the coronavirus hit, I probably have like 6 or 7 now, which they've been incredibly loyal, incredibly faithful, and I'm super appreciative of their business. Anybody really who's like into supporting small businesses or people who are entrepreneurs or anybody who's trying to make money from themselves during this time, kudos to you. It's nice having clients meet up with me every now and again. It gets me out of the house really.
Yeah.
But meeting with them, they appreciate it. They're like, cause they're the ones who are still working. So it's not too much of a burden on them. It's just like they can't get any services anywhere else.
Yeah.
So meeting with them for the hours, like I come and work out with you. I give you a new workout. I make sure everything's working for you okay. And then, you know, it's much more personable than the gym.
And it's nice. They're like, that is a very nice thing for like clients to keep continuing to pay. Like, you know, I'm still paying my gym membership even though it's closed. Right. And it's been closed.
And
just
that's,
to like,
dude, that's the thing.
Support
like,
them.
A lot of my clients are still getting like charged for my gym. And I feel bad, and I want to make sure that they're getting a service from that.
Yeah.
Whether it's like a free service of me just like, you know, hosting like a big Zoom call and just talking about stuff. But whatever I can do to give back to my clients or the community in Concord about fitness is what I'm trying to do. Because it's fucking hard to come by.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody on Instagram or in the park. I'm the only person in the park training people, dude.
Damn.
Wow, that's actually kind of surprising. I wonder what everyone else is like up to. You know what I mean?
Like training or
like how they're even like trying to like stay in it.
Well, I've been trying to like, I have a few trainers that work under me, and I try to text them and talk to them about, you know, getting together with their clients and reaching out to their clients. But a lot of my clients, surprisingly, I've tried to hit up and just leave me on red.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It really shows you who's very into fitness and who's like forced to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Forcing themselves to do it. But, you know, it's going to be weird because as soon as the gym opens back up, they're just going to be like, hey, what's time no see?
Right back, right back in.
Back to square one.
Like they didn't leave you on red or something. Yeah.
So it's, that's what I've been doing so far. I've been trying to get more clients, working on my online presence, trying to get a website up. But as far as right now, you know, I think I'm steady chilling. I got all this time to like you know, learn something new, read something new. I've been trying to read as many books as I can.
Dude, you're gonna come back with a new cert, you know what I mean?
Come back, new cert, new knowledge, fucking read The Energy Bus, great book.
Yeah. Definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. So
website coming soon.
Yep.
And then your main platform is Instagram. You want to just like plug your Instagram?
Yeah, my Instagram is Drew_L.C for now. I might change that soon, but that is what it is.
Lawrence Fit. Sorry, that's twice. That's twice.
V Fit. V Shred. It's already a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, V Shred is a thing.
A Shred.
Yeah, sweet. Well, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Ton of fun. And yeah, without further ado.
Cool. Love you.
Love on.
El ritmo que se siente